Borrow some money. What do white people do? Borrow some shit. Hey, let me borrow like $10 billion real quick. I need to pay some of these people under the table. Like, are y'all not trying to be real owners? If I'm Ballmer, I don't give a what that calorie set. I don't care what it says. I am cheating. I got too much money to be on the same playing field with you broke ass. We're not in the same conference, sir. Right? You want 50 million? I'm gonna give you 45 on it. I'm gonna give you 5 on the books because I gotta force somebody else. 5 on the books, 45 under the table. Behind the scenes, don't even worry about it. I got you. You got a foundation? I got that. You got business deals? I got that. You want a percentage in what? I got that. Just go ahead and sign that. You too? How the all these people keep getting here? This motherfucker got the USA basketball team and this 2 of these motherfuckers own buildings downtown. How? There's gonna be investigations after investigations. Yeah. It's not like the NBA wanna catch me anyway. They work for me. Huh? Adam Silver, what you want? What you want? I think this investigation says you ain't found.
You want a building too?
Here's a check says you ain't found. What you talking about?
So why do you think they gave him that much money?
Let me just repeat, I don't know how much money they gave him.
Well, in the court documents and in Pablo's podcast, they reported it was $28 million.
Pablo's podcast, I don't know anything about the court documents on this. I haven't seen them and I don't know. I'm not trying to be, I don't know. I really don't know. But the speculation is what it is. And why did they do that?
It's a lot of money. I mean, $28 million, $7 million a year is a lot of money for a guy that you didn't actually require to do anything.
I don't know why they did what they did, and I don't know how different it is. I really don't. And frankly, any speculation would be crazy. These are guys who committed fraud. How would I be able? Look, they conned me.
You're one of the richest men in America.
They conned me. I made an investment in these guys thinking it was on the up and up, and they conned me. At this stage, I have no ability to predict why they might have done anything they did, let alone the specific contract with Kawhi.
I mean, you're one of the richest men in America. You've obviously done very well in your career in business. Like, you didn't smell anything wrong with the company. You didn't see anything wrong. Like, you obviously reviewed the financials before you got involved with the business proposal.
I reviewed, my staff reviewed primarily fraudulent financials. Now, should I have sniffed it out? Maybe. I feel embarrassed and kind of silly that I didn't sniff it out, but I didn't. I made the investment. A lot of other smart investors didn't sniff it out either. It's also true I've made a bunch of bad business deals and investments in my life, and I've made some good ones. This was fraud and a bad investment, and I'm embarrassed by that.
Yeah.
The world of basketball has always had its villains, its heroes, and its cautionary tales. Yet never before has the game seen a story like this. The saga of Kawhi Leonard, the man once hailed as the silent assassin, now cast into the darkest chapter of NBA history. This isn't just a scandal. This is the unraveling of a legacy. The year was 2019. Kawhi Leonard had just conquered the NBA. He'd delivered Toronto its first ever championship, outdueling the mighty Golden State Warriors, and walked away with his second Finals MVP trophy. At 28 years old, Leonard stood at the summit of the basketball world, untouchable, unrivaled, and desired by every franchise that could dream of signing him. The free agency race was brutal. The Raptors wanted to keep their king. The Lakers dreamed of pairing him with LeBron James and Anthony Davis to create a dynasty. And the Clippers, the perennial little brother of Los Angeles, wanted to shock the league by stealing away the crown jewel. But behind the curtain of that free agency frenzy lurked whispers. Reports emerged that Dennis Robertson, Kawhi's uncle and representative, wasn't just negotiating a contract. He was demanding perks that went far beyond what the collective bargaining agreement allowed. Ownership stakes, sponsorship deals, even no-show arrangements that required no real work in exchange for millions. The Raptors were stunned. When executives told Robertson that sponsors in Toronto would love Leonard, they were met with a cold reply. "We don't want to do anything." What Kawhi's camp wanted, in their own words, was money. But without appearances, without ads, without effort. It was the kind of request that made executives freeze. Because in plain terms, it wasn't an endorsement deal. It was a cover-up for extra salary. When the dust settled, Kawhi chose the Clippers. It was a monumental shift in NBA power. In one fell swoop, the Clippers landed not just Leonard, but also pulled off a blockbuster trade for Paul George, sending Shai Gilgeous-Alexander and a mountain of draft picks to Oklahoma City. the NBA launched an investigation into whether Robertson's demands had been met by the Clippers. The league ultimately found no evidence that the Clippers had broken rules during free agency, but the whispers never died. Those whispers turned into sirens in 2021. That summer, Leonard quietly signed an extension with the Clippers. A month later, team owner Steve Ballmer invested $50 million into a green banking startup called Aspiration. By September, the Clippers themselves had announced a $300 million partnership with the company. And then, in the shadows, Kawhi signed his own deal, a 4-year, $28 million endorsement contract with Aspiration. The catch? He never had to endorse anything. No commercials, no public appearances, no ads. Nothing. Later reports revealed an even darker layer. Leonard allegedly had a second deal with Aspiration, a private side agreement that promised him an additional $20 million in company stock, not from the business itself, but from the personal holdings of Aspiration co-founder Joseph Sandberg. In total, Kawhi stood to pocket $48 million from an arrangement that looked less like an endorsement deal and more like a hidden salary. For a while, it seemed to work. Leonard played, the Clippers fought through injuries and playoff heartbreak, and the Aspiration deal hummed quietly in the background. But in March 2025, the house of cards collapsed. Sandberg, the founder behind Aspiration, was arrested on federal charges, accused of defrauding investors out of $145 million. The company filed for bankruptcy. Suddenly, every deal tied to Aspiration came under scrutiny. That included Kawhi Leonard's. The revelations exploded onto podcasts and news outlets. Pablo Torre, on his show Finds Out, laid out the details of Leonard's Aspiration contracts. Then came follow-ups. How the requests Robertson made to the Raptors in 2019 matched exactly what Kawhi received years later. Ownership stakes, sponsorship income, money for nothing. To the NBA, this wasn't just suspicious, it was damning. The NBA hired the law firm Wachtel, Lipton, Rosen, and Katz, the same legal juggernaut that dismantled Donald Sterling in 2014 and forced Robert Sarver to sell the Suns in 2022. Their task? To uncover whether Kawhi Leonard, his camp, and the Clippers had orchestrated one of the most blatant salary cap circumventions in league history. The spotlight turned harshly on Steve Ballmer. The billionaire insisted he was innocent, even a victim. In an emotional interview with ESPN's Ramona Shelburne, he claimed Aspiration had conned him into investing. He denied any knowledge of improper benefits, saying the Clippers merely introduced Leonard to the company, and the rest was out of his hands. But the timing, the connections, and the money trail painted a different picture. A $50 million investment from the owner, a $300 million partnership from the team, and a $48 million payout to the franchise player. To many inside the league office, it was too perfect to be coincidence. Through it all, Kawhi remained who he had always been, silent. When asked back in 2019 about his uncle's demands, he brushed it off. "I didn't read it. I don't know how reliable it is. People make up stories every day." Now, as accusations swirled around him in 2025, the silence felt heavier, more damning. His uncle, his representatives, his team owner all spoke. But Kawhi, nothing. The NBA wasn't dealing with a conspiracy theory anymore. They were dealing with contracts, signed papers, and financial trails. And when the law firm presented its findings, the conclusion was unavoidable. In a move that shook the sports world, NBA Commissioner Adam Silver announced that Kawhi Leonard was banned from the league. The official charge: salary cap circumvention through fraudulent endorsement deals. The punishment was swift, decisive, and unprecedented. Not since Donald Sterling had the NBA lowered its hammer this hard. A two-time Finals MVP, a global superstar, a franchise cornerstone, erased from the league he once dominated. The Clippers were fined millions. Ballmer's reputation was scarred, and Kawhi Leonard, the man once seen as the quiet warrior who let his game do the talking, was now the face of one of the NBA's darkest scandals. For fans, the fallout was heartbreaking. This was Kawhi Leonard, the hero of Toronto, the man who dethroned dynasties, the silent competitor who seemed immune to drama. Now, his career was remembered not for buzzer beaters or championships, but for backroom deals and fraudulent contracts. and the irony cut deep. The very thing that once defined Leonard, his silence, became his downfall. While the storm raged, while accusations piled up, while his camp allegedly pulled strings, Kawhi said nothing. Silence, in the end, was not golden. It was damning. The NBA has always been about stories. Magic and Bird saved the league. Michael Jordan globalized it. LeBron James redefined its modern era. And Kawhi Leonard, his story became a tragedy. From champion to outcast, from finals MVP to banned for life, from a man who built his legacy in silence to a man whose silence destroyed it. The lesson is brutal, but clear. In the NBA, the truth always comes out, and when it does, no amount of rings, no highlight reels, no legacy of greatness can protect you. Kawhi Leonard, the silent superstar, is gone, and the NBA will never be the same.